everybody, it's the Chakras series. I'm Dr. Michelle and welcome. Today's topic is getting rid of chronic pain so you can live your best life now by changing what you think. And this is part one. This is taught by me, acupuncture medicine expert. I've been in private practice for over 21 years in the San Diego Poway area. I must give you the disclaimer. These products and methods have not been evaluated by the FDA. The products and methods recommended are not intended to treat, diagnose, cure, or prevent illness or disease. Please consult with a licensed health professional to address any specific health concerns you may have. So, how to get rid of chronic pain. The Chakra series classes through meditation using essential oils and sound and acupressure can help you change what you think, can help you change your thoughts. So you have the power to heal yourself. Discover the truth behind your pain or illness. And first, you must recognize the mind-body-spirit connection. Having pain in your body is telling you something. It is a sign that you need to change something in your life. There is something you are doing that you don't want to do. So you are probably complaining about it, whether you even are aware of it or not. There is something going on, a part of yourself that you are either hiding from, you don't want to admit it, or you are avoiding it. So you have this little angel in one voice and the devil in the other ear. You know, I want to be the best and I want to be the greatest person, but I really hate doing that and I don't want to do that. And you're really underneath it, a little mad, and you have some repressed emotion, repressed anger, and you must change that. Or either accept what you can't change or change your perception surrounding it. And I don't want that to be a cop-out, because there's so many times where people will tell me I cannot change like my job, or I can't change who I'm working with, I can't change my surroundings or my circumstances. Most of the time that's not true. It's just that it is a pain, it's difficult, it takes some work, but we don't want to do it, or we are just plain old resistant to change. So we must release resistance to changing, and that can also be with healing. We have become accustomed and used to our chronic pain. We're even used to complaining. So face your inner fears and conflicts. This does require some soul searching. But let's talk about what is not psychosomatic pain and illness. Psychosomatic, psycho means brain and somatic is body. And we don't like that word psychosomatic. I don't think it's as well accepted because we don't like psycho. We don't want to be psycho. But we totally love mind-body, because that means it's holistic. It is encompassing the mind and the body. They are not separated, and our emotions do affect our body and vice versa. But what is not mind, body, spirit illness is, we must exclude birth defects, acute physical traumas, anything emergency, life or limb threatening emergencies, vaccinations, lack of water, thirst, lack of food, nutrients, starvation, or other iatrogenic causes. You can heal yourself. You play an active part in your healing. And the Chakra series can be enough for many people. Like it's a great support, standalone. It can be undertaken while going through other holistic therapies like acupuncture, chiropractic, and massage. Of course, these are my favorite, especially acupuncture for some reason. It will help your treatments work even better because you're working on yourself. And if you do need psychotherapy, then also be sure that you go through psychotherapy or some form of counseling if you are suffering from some other more severe anxiety or severe, depression or anything where you feel like you're hurting yourself or others, or, definitely make those emergency calls if you need to. This is not in its own, for that. I just want to make that clear. But for most people that aren't suffering from any severe mental disease, but if we have anxiety, depression, and just talking negatively to ourselves, and we have chronic pain, the chakra series can be such an awesome place for you to begin a practice for healing yourself. So even if you don't see me in person, I can definitely still help anywhere, because these classes are online and they are recorded. So what's the connection with the brain and chronic pain? So before you begin, you must understand and accept that pain is a reaction to an emotional spiritual problem. As I said earlier, it is a sign. It is telling you that something in your life needs to change. Recognize that your pain is your body telling you that something is wrong. So forget the physical or structural explanations like the MRI scans and the x-rays, and attribute it instead to a benign altered physiology, the physical emotional basis of your chronic pain. Because, hey, if you tell your brain, if you saw an x-ray or an MRI about your discs or anything in your back that was 2 years ago, 5 years ago, and you're still saying, oh, my disc in my L4, L5 is why I have pain. I mean, you're not allowing your brain to heal. You are still telling your brain. You're telling your brain that I cannot heal. I will not heal from that particular problem. And some structural problems do not heal, but they aren't always the cause of your pain, but you are believing it to be so, because now newer studies are actually showing that many people already have those degenerative problems going on in their spine and they don't have pain. So, but realize that, the body-mind connection is a universal and normal component of everyday life. How do we use the mind, and how do we access the chakra meridian systems? By using our senses, because our senses, like smell and also vibration, give us direct access to our limbic system and the autonomic nervous system, the ANS. The limbic system is the part of the brain that is responsible for our emotions and the emotional reactions and feelings. Smell goes right through the olfactory nerves, through the nose, and to that limbic system. Sound vibration, you can use your own voice and a tuning fork, because you can, when you are in a treatment room having a treatment with a tuning fork healing, tuning fork acupuncture, or during a class when we're using the sound vibration, your skin has Hercynian corpuscles that detect, even holding it just above the skin, detect that vibration. And also on the acupressure points, you will feel, so you feel it and you hear it. You are immersed in that sound and along with the aroma. And it is a way to help your brain make a direct connection between positive emotions, positive thoughts, and even positive feeling of no pain in your body with a certain smell or sound or acupressure point. Because during the sessions, you want to think of one place, one calm, peaceful moment or time in your life of where you feel your best, and put yourself in that moment. And then if you smell bergamot or lavender and you hear the Om sound or the Auto 128, which is a low C, the key of C, like the piano, you hear those sounds and it should take you right back to that place where you're safe and you're happy and you have only good thoughts in your mind. And also using light and color, just either visualizing in your mind or seeing the light, or even having a light be put on your skin. And of course, there's always touch, as I mentioned, acupressure and movement. And proprioception and feeling. Those are all senses. And taste and smell are very intermingled. So using in your home, different foods and herbs and spices for taste. tapping into the spiritual associations of the chakras. Chakra, or some people say chakra, but I learned it as chakra. They are the places on our body that are the center aspect along our spine. Each chakra is related to a certain spine level and a gland and a nerve plexus at each level, from L4, L5, all the way up, all the way to the crown, and then down along the front. So the very first is the base chakra. This is what many say located at the perineum. It is our sense of safety, grounding, and well-being. The sacral chakra is here in orange, and it is the place of sensuality and sexuality, and really it's the communication of ourselves to the outside world and with others. And then you have the solar plexus, willpower and self-confidence. That's your personal power. The heart chakra, located at our breastbone, has to do with love, kindness, forgiveness. Throat, the emotions and the thought of creativity, communication, and listening. Third eye is our intellect, our wisdom, spiritual awakening, like understanding. And the crown is at the top. This is our spiritual connection, the place of just all knowing, and knowing that we are a part of a world bigger than ourselves. And the chakras and the meridians help bring about a balance between the parasympathetic and sympathetic part of the autonomic nervous system. So the autonomic means things are just going behind the scenes that we don't think about, right? We don't think about breathing. We don't think about, respiration. We don't think about digestion. They just happen. And parasympathetic is that aspect that, we're more calm, cool, and collected. And if you think about it, when you are under pressure, if you can work under pressure but still feel calm, cool, and collected, you can think and you can find solutions. But if you're all tense and fired up, your body is tense, and this is the fight or flight aspect. And sometimes we need to be in that mode, but many of us are walking around tense and fired up, and we're even sleeping that way. We can't even just relax and let our body just sink into the pillow. We have insomnia and anxiety. Our muscles are really tight. Maybe one hip is higher than the other, one earlobe is higher than the other. That's just a couple of ways to know that you are stuck in the sympathetic, tense, and fired up mode. So history of using these methods has been for thousands of years, especially with acupuncture medicine. And the study of classical 5-element acupuncture takes us beyond using acupuncture for the physical means of pain and structural pain and trigger points and using the muscles. This is a study where there's advanced training after acupuncture school. And I studied with Neil Gumenick in Santa Monica, California. It's about a 12-month training where we really learn about the acupuncture points on the body and what they mean as far as the emotions and the spirit. So in that sense, there really is the body, mind, and spirit. And the acupuncture points have names that can oftentimes help you correlate what they really mean. Like people welcome the stomach 9 point means that you are able to actually allow people in and ask for help when needed. Something that many of us don't do. So these energetic body systems, the 5-element theory in Chinese medicine, this is a way to learn about our body and how it is so similar to our outside world and the phenomena in the universe and in nature. And when we look at wood, we can say that the wood is associated with the liver, but also the emotion of anger, but on the positive note, assertiveness. The fire element is associated with the heart, and also the pericardium and the small intestine and the triple warmer, which is our fascia and connective tissue. And that has to do with love and joy. And on the negative, either manic behavior, mental disorders, insomnia, hatred, not able to forgive. The earth element has to do with our spleen, pancreas, and stomach. So it is the rotting and rightening of the food and digesting and metabolizing, sending those nutrients everywhere throughout our body, and the fluids that can build up in our digestive tract, and the fluids and mucus that can build up inside of our sinuses and other parts of our body, and edema. And when we overthink, when we have too much pensiveness, that means that we worry because we are worried. We are not in the present moment. We are too worried about the future impending doom upon us, or constantly negative thinking and complaining that I was mentioning earlier. So that is what's happening when we are out of balance here in the earth. And we are constantly, thinking about either the past too, like what I would have, should have, could have, right? So moving on, the metal element has a relationship with our large intestine and our lungs. It has to do with respiration, breathing in, inhalation, and exhalation, breathing out, and the intestines of absorbing what we want out of the colon back into our body, but releasing that waste product, what we don't need. But often many of us hold on to that waste, not only in the colon, but in our minds as well. Like we are just holding on to a lot of crap that we need to let go of. I'm just going to say it, okay? The water element has to do with the kidneys and the urinary bladder. And fright and fear can be stuck here when we shouldn't be stuck in our fight or flight, right? So if we think about the hormones, we're thinking about adrenaline and cortisol, and there needs to be a balance between those two hormones, and we shouldn't be stuck feeling afraid and fearful for our life when we are no longer in danger. All of these are basic universal emotions that every human being possesses. Love and joy, disgust, that is part of I attribute disgust to that earth element because we start overthinking and we get stuck in negatively thinking. And in a lot of acupuncture schools, they'll just say worry, but worry and anxiety is two things, because worry is thinking and it's fear. So it's fearful and thinking, and it's hard to say if worry on its own is just an emotion, as it's more of something that you're doing, but underneath you're really you're disgusted, and disgust is a basic emotion. And grief is, or sadness, and there's fear and surprise, and then there's anger. And anger, frustration, depression, you see they're all relative. That's all part of anger. And we get stuck in these emotions because of some deep-rooted belief systems that we learn growing up as either small children, from family, friends, teachers, neighbors, school, whatever. We learn something, and it starts in that root chakra. I am unlovable, or I am not safe, or I am unworthy. We have those deep-rooted feelings that I am inferior, that then they cause us to behave in certain ways. And these belief systems can be, of course, about yourself, but they can be about your family. They can be about your culture, society, your country, even about your world, and whether or not some of them might be true, but you yourself need to rise above your circumstances by having positive thoughts. So this doesn't have anything to do with intelligence. This is emotional intelligence. And they can be difficult to change. We are all hopefully working on bettering ourselves, personal growth, and it's hard to ever meet anybody who is a master of these. We are all students. But we just need to first become aware of them, and where do you find yourself stuck, and where is your core beliefs. So our thoughts come from our beliefs. thinking and belief systems become our habitual behavior. And mostly the root of all disease and pain is self-absorption. Self-absorption is that thinking, that spleen, pancreas, earth element that I was talking about before, and the worry and anxiety, and it's constantly talking to yourself either under your breath or whether you even realize that you're doing it or not. And it comes from judging others or judging yourself, because if you're not judging, you're not going to be that negative. But self-absorption, because everybody thinks I'm this, or everybody else is wrong. I mean, it's some kind of, you're in your own head about things. How we react and handle conflicts and stress is a direct relationship to this self-absorption. How do we handle our daily tasks of just everyday life? How are we in our car? How are we, going shopping? How are we at work? How are we bringing home that stress and blaming somehow something that we're really mad about? It becomes our persona, right? So, but these thoughts have a direct effect on our hormones and our mood and metabolism, and even all the way down to the little cells, so cellular health, because thoughts and emotions are one and the same. You can't have an emotion without the thought, and you can't have the emotion without the hormones. So the glands, like the adrenal glands, they signal that adrenaline that makes us feel fear. And if you think about when you have actually been scared from a real problem running, maybe you almost were hit by a car and you get that adrenaline rush and then your heart pounds, you're afraid, you were actually scared, and that hormone was released so instantaneously before you even thought about it. And you had that, you were able to get, hopefully, out of the way quick enough, right? Or make that quick stop when you're driving in your car and oh wow, I almost rear-ended somebody. So that's, we get stuck in fight or flight mode sometimes. And these maladaptive coping systems come from our core beliefs. They are survival patterns to buffer you from feeling the distress directly. And that's because we cannot go around every day thinking about everything and being aware of everything, because we wouldn't be able to function. I mean, that's why I believe we really have what we call our subconscious. So some things might be more subconscious to us than others. And I don't want to say that everything is, that we don't really know what's happening or going on in our mind. I think we're just not aware so that we can function, so that you can just go on with your day. And we don't realize that maybe I'm putting undue self-imposed pressure on myself that comes from feeling a sense of inferiority. Like it spurs the drive to be so perfect and good that I can't say no, and I can't, I have to be the best at everything. So why are you in pain? Ask yourself these questions, because if you're overdoing and you're not giving your body rest, or, whatever, maybe you have self-imposed pressure. Maybe there's self-denial, like because you want approval and you want to be accepted, you're the one that will deny yourself. You won't be the one that'll go to college. You'll let your other brothers and sisters go, or you won't buy yourself something that you saved all this money for, and then you realize that somebody you love needs money for something, and you're going to go ahead and give it to them, and you won't otherwise you will feel guilty. You will rather have self-denial of your own happiness. And I'm not just talking about material things, but self-denial, or you really believe that you are unlovable, or life pressures. There's so many things. Is this causing you pain, that you just have too many pressures going on with financial illness, you name it? Or were there underlying childhood emotional needs that were not met, that have created low self-esteem because you're always looking to fulfill those? Like, were you feeling sad, hurt, or angry from neglect, abuse, or even disapproval? Are you self-absorbed, like feeling put out because you're the good guy, but yet you really didn't do it from just the goodness of your heart? You did it to avoid guilt, or to be the best person, or to be the good person, but then you're really mad about it. And if you get angry at that person or people or whatever, then it's going to be thrown back out at them, right? That's a little bit of some self-absorption. Or do you have deep dependency needs? Like, I just want to be taken care of. I don't want the responsibility. I don't want to be the leader. Take care of me. Tell me what to do. Pent-up emotions. So again, the basic emotions, and think about yourself. What are you feeling? Fear or fright, anger, a lack of joy, sadness, or pure disgust? And I just want to explain that if having anger and expressing anger, that can often be displaced when you fly off the handle about something that has nothing to do with a certain conversation or anything. That is actually conscious, though. I mean, you are aware that you're angry, and then you say, "I'm sorry that I spoke to you that way. I was just angry about my boss." So that's displaced anger. But repressed emotions create anger and frustration. So when we are holding in any emotion, eventually it becomes anger. And it creates more negative thoughts and disgust. And then we repress them due to fear because we don't want to actually be that. We don't want to admit. We're not even aware that we are feeling inferior, and that's why we're acting out this way. So if we don't feel loved, or we don't love ourselves, or we don't love unconditionally, these are all pent-up emotions, and those hormones now from that repressed emotion is just going to keep circulating in your body. We all have a predisposition to a predominant emotion, or a predominant pattern that's out of balance related to one of the 5 elements of nature that I had mentioned. And these thoughts tend to become our habit. And so what negative thoughts are you often telling yourself? What negative feeling are you feeling? And these repeated neuropeptide signals are injuring your body and your mind. So again, some are unconscious or suppressed, like we don't know about them, and some are repressed, like we are not trying to express them overtly, but they're there underneath. And so some are conscious, like the displaced anger. So the repeated neuropeptide signals, again, just are injuring your body, because over time your brain will reduce the oxygen flow to a particular part of your body and actually make physical changes. So again, when you have pain, it doesn't mean it's all in your head. That is not what we mean by psychosomatic, and that is not what we mean by mind-body. It means that you really have a problem, you really have pain, but it is so connected to the brain, to the thinking, and to the emotions that you really can't have one without the other. And there are so many great books out there these days about the mind-body connection, and so much evidence to even support everything that I'm telling you. And I would recommend that you can read these books. And they've done the research and the studies. And one of them that I would recommend is called Molecules of Emotions by Candace Pert. John Sarno, he has many books, and one of them, The Divided Mind, and then there's The Body Keeps Score, The Body Doesn't Lie, and then As a Man Thinketh, and that was by James Allen, and the complete book of chakra healing if you want to learn about the chakras. And for acupuncturists, you would love the acupuncture and the chakra energy system. And this is how, from John Cross, I have used a lot of his work in my clinic. And The Biology of Belief by Bruce H. Limpton. There's many more. And this is from Dr. John Sarno in his book, The Divided Mind, and he talks about pain, that pain happens because it is in vogue. It's in vogue in the times. So you can have pain because it's readily available, like to have good medical treatment or good insurance for that particular problem, like in workers' comp, auto injuries. There's health insurance and access to medications and treatment. So patients have reported that their pain became much more severe when they were informed of the results of a magnetic resonance imaging, MRI, that had described the abnormality as, herniated disc, or, especially if a surgery was suggested. And you know what, in my own experience, I will most definitely say yes, that I have noticed that a person could be definitely improving, maybe even 80, 85, or 90% better from, say, knee pain, but then they come back a week later and then all of a sudden they are using a cane and it's so much worse. And my gosh, what happened? Did you fall? No, I saw my MRI. And I'm not joking. So I don't know if that's always a good thing if you're really not planning on having surgery, because it plants in your mind that, hey, bone on bone, I can't heal, now my pain is worse. Or there's the unempowering, it's in my genes, and you are what you think, though. So perceived traumas, Dr. John Sarno says, are whiplash, repetitive strain like carpal tunnel, chronic Lyme disease, chronic fatigue, back pain, neck pain, shoulder pain, headaches, and migraines. So these traumas are triggers for psychosomatic disorders. And you know what? I have to agree, because anything chronic, really deep down, people are not wanting to do something in their life, or they are holding on to some kind of pent-up emotion. And I'm not going to read all of these, but this is, again, comes from The Divided Mind. And it's just, a lot of these can be very surprising, where he says how he has really had so much success in helping people overcome many things that you would be really surprised about hearing. That even wear and tear, degenerative problems, bone spurs around, the joints, pinched nerves, and soft tissue disorders, cardiovascular, cancer, autoimmune, nerve impingement, acid reflux. I mean, the list just goes on and on. And this is just more, the list of all of these conditions that might be surprising to you, but once you really just believe that your problem is from the emotion or overthinking, negative thoughts, once you realize what that problem is for you, it will go away. And he says problems are misdiagnosed as physical quite often because the study of the brain, anatomy, physiology, chemistry, it disregards the dynamic relationship to the body as a whole. And it has a tendency to treat chemical aberrations associated with depression, for example, with drugs, as though the altered chemistry was the cause of the depression, when in fact, the reason for the depression is an unconscious psychological conflict, and the chemical change was merely the mechanism that produces the symptom of depression. So again, he says, a PET scan can identify areas of the brain that are activated when a person is manifesting anger, but it is not helpful in determining the source of the anger. So, and especially if the unconscious processes are involved. So he believes, and I have to concur, it is a dangerous idea that treating the chemistry will correct the disorder. So such treatment may indeed modify the symptoms, but it is not the same thing as curing the disorder. And, being in practice for as long as I have, I must concur with that also. Questions to ask yourself. So first, let's start with maybe some of the easier ones, the physical ones. What have I been eating? What have I been drinking? Have I moved my body? How much rest have I given myself? Like, how much am I just pushing myself? Mental, emotional level. How well and or how much have I been sleeping? How do I feel about my work or my school or my peers? Something in your life, my boss, my coworkers, or what you do, like your purpose. Have I been trying to avoid my feelings through drinking, drugs, eating, video gaming, gambling, shopping, or TV? Are you trying to just avoid? Personal questions. How much quality time have I spent with friends or family? How much quality alone time have I had? Do I feel loved right now? Or what am I saying to myself? What am I saying to myself because of a negative belief about myself? And it might take some soul searching to really root that out. Is there repressed anger and fear? And really, in a nutshell, it does seem that we are all mad at each other and ourselves all the time. There probably is a little bit, at least, of some irritation or frustration or anger pent up. What is your top feeling or, emotion? Do you just feel a lack of joy or apathy, or are you over, elated all the time? Are you kind of manic? So these, as you can see at each sentence, they are just different aspects of the same thing. So are you feeling vulnerable or wounded? Like, do you have a lack of boundaries, like between, the difference between speaking to a teacher, a boss, a child, a friend, or letting somebody in too early when you've just met them, not having those personal boundaries, or not knowing the difference between a toxic person who's not good for you or somebody who actually is a really good person. Are you wishy-washy, where you are really excited about a certain hobby and then you quickly lose interest, or a love? You certainly love somebody and then you quickly, he's not so great. Are you disgusted or overly sympathetic or unsympathetic? Or are you always worried? Are you sad, grieving? Do you feel alone? Are you disappointed or regretful, like a loss of a dream? That's all on that mental element. Do you have fear? Are you feeling too surprised? Are you afraid? Do you panic? Do you feel cowardly, low self-esteem, lack of confidence, or the opposite, like are you reckless? Do you feel angry, irritated, resentful, or depressed? So humans have all of these traits, and they are normal, and we should have them all, and we should express them all and feel them all appropriately. But when we get stuck in one or more of these, then there's an imbalance. So it's not better to be stuck in one versus the other one. Just know that. But we all have them. And we all get stuck in them one here and there, right? So write your answers down on paper, but have the intention of just allowing them to come to you, acknowledging your beliefs without judgment. There's no wrong answer. Again, everyone has these basic human traits. At one time or another, we experience some of these psychosomatic symptoms. It is not a neurosis, okay? So there's nothing wrong with you or anyone for having a psychosomatic disorder. We'll call it body, mind, spirit problem. But definitely, if it is something more on the mental health issue, like if you're feeling severely depressed, or seek psychotherapy and counseling if needed, and it can only help. So some of you are neurotic, and that just goes without saying, right? Some of us are neurotic. Expect results, okay? And definitely expect results when you make that connection and you find that root source problem for yourself. Expect no pain, no physical restrictions or loss of function. Have the faith, no fear any longer of physical activity or moving your body. Through finding the harmony of your energy systems, like acupuncture and the chakra power stations, through awareness, embrace growth and healing. Have the courage and the willpower for the ability to make those necessary changes in your life. Example exercises, and I'm going to play a sound for you here. If you can hear it when you're wearing earphones. This is the tuning fork Om, middle Om at 13610. It is the heart and meridian sound, but also the sound is laughter, and it's ha, or it's yam. That is the chakra. And holding your hand, it's your breastbone, and the other hand like so in your lap. That is a way to meditate upon any of these questions and listening to that sound. So these classes are for anybody experiencing chronic pain, no matter where you live, if you're local in Poway or anywhere in the United States. If you also feel that you have low immunity, you get sick easy, you're feeling anxious, nervous, worried, this will fit into your busy lifestyle. So they're easy principles and techniques to apply from the comfort of your own home. This is a solution for you. holistic health practitioners also, because we need treatment too. We need to take care of ourselves. And you can also learn how to add them in for your own practice, or just use them on other people as well. You know, a friend or family member, somebody you love. So your spiritual practice, just get together with me when we do it on our monthly class, or you can do it daily, 15 minutes, or weekly for an hour. Practice whenever a conflict comes. So using one or more of these techniques as little as 5 minutes can really help ground you and bring you back into balance to center yourself. So please like and subscribe to my YouTube channel, like this video, share with others, post comments below the video. And you can find me at livingwellwithdrmichelle.locals.com, where you can sign up for my chakra classes and also some other freebies and tips and health techniques. So we'll see you in the next lesson. I appreciate you. Thank you for watching. I am Dr. Michelle, and look for the part 2 of how to get rid of chronic pain by changing what you think.